Thank you for tuning in for the Q3 2022 update. My name is Alika Chuck, co-founder and CEO of Pharm Robotics, and I'm joined today by Connor Broughton, Chief Financial Officer of Pharm Robotics. So first, we're going to get into some product development updates for our Phase 3 proof of concept install at a rotary dairy in the Central Valley. We've been working on this since the first half of August, and right now at this point in time, our team is working to ship a life-size mannequin cow to the Bay Area for our contract manufacturers to really utilize for testing the 3D vision camera, which is on the robot, and really calibrating that to find the correct location to give a shot in our next phase of testing. And also coupled with line tracking prior to installation on a dairy in the Central Valley. So going into line tracking, that's really going to be coming down to the speed of the rotary, the specs of the rotary, and then combining the robot with that information to be able to determine, how fast the robot has to move, track that portion of the rotary, and then give a shot in the rear end of the cow in that situation. And so once the phase 3 proof of concept test site is confirmed, we'll install the robot about 4 to 5 stalls near the exit of the rotary on the outside of the rotary, basically near the exit. And so where the robot will come in play right here is essentially it'll identify which cow needs a shot, use line tracking to find where to deliver that simulated inoculation in the rear end, and really keep up with the speed of the rotary, like mentioned before, because we could be dealing with rotary speeds anywhere between 3 seconds to up to 15 seconds per stall. So we just really got to hone in and calibrate the robot to keep up with various speeds. And in addition to that, we're now working with Siemens to develop an internal database solution, which will have the capabilities of connecting various APIs to herd management platforms that dairy farmers use. Because I think our whole goal is to integrate with the dairy farmer rather than creating a new software program for them to learn. So this really makes sense for us to team up with Siemens, and they have the resources to help us get there. And so now I'll hand it over to Connor with some officer changes that became effective in August of this year.
Thanks, Alika. Yes, our company has recently undergone some position changes, with Marinus transitioning from CEO to Chief Innovation Officer. Alika will be transitioning into the CEO role, and I will be transitioning into the CFO role. Marinus will continue to play a vital role in leading the company and also being the chairman of the board with his vision and serving as an exemplary leader. Marinus will have a more focused role in the areas of research and development, customer acquisition, collaborative partnerships, identifying new market segments, and working with the engineering team to develop future robotic health centers to support various animal species globally. On the customer-facing side, Marinus will act as a consultant to dairymen across the U.S., where he will go over reproductive results, blood sampling, and double offseting protocols, as well as various herd management procedures. Marinus will also oversee the data management portion of Pharm Robotics' business model and assist in identifying new ways to improve our technology on both the software and hardware side, as well as presenting new business units to implement into our model, along with vetting new hires to join our growing team. Alika will transition from CFO to CEO and will continue to oversee all company finances and operations with a focus on organizational management, diversifying company culture, and carrying out decisions for team members with a servant leadership mentality. Alika will continue working with Marinus on researching key customer segments and will be responsible for developing additional business lines for Pharm Robotics' business model, as well as working with the CFO and other C-suite executives to speed up customer acquisition, customer conversion, cash collection cycle, and initiatives to invest in R&D projects for future years by recommendations of CIO and Chairman of the Board, Marinus Dijkstra. I was also promoted from Chief Marketing Officer to Chief Financial Officer, and will continue to oversee all business development activities, marketing campaigns, and corporate partnerships. Marketing activities will be eventually absorbed by an eventual hire, and as a CMO or managing director at the start of 2023. I will be working closely with Alika, overseeing all company finances and operations, with a focus on developing various financial models for the company, overseeing legal and compliance affairs, and leading future investment rounds, as well as equity crowdfunding campaigns alongside Alika and Marinus. I will also be developing various financial models and conceptual frameworks for the company, while also assisting in company leadership, management, and hiring a second in command of Pharm Robotics, LLC, with Alika and Marinus as first in command. I will be continue to be informed on all key ideas, discussions, and decisions for the company, and I'll turn it back over to Alika.
Thank you, Connor. So yeah, going more into fundraising and strategic partnerships, really going from the end of September through November. We're waiting to hear back from a couple entities right now, including Hanson Industries, Kern Venture Group, and SVG Ventures to really close our seed round and bring on myself as well as Connor full time and start preparing to bring on a CTO full time as well come next year. So Hanson Industries has a large network of dairymen throughout California and would be essential installation and maintenance partners, especially for our initial target market customers. Kern Venture Group maintains an interest of improving the lives of farmers in Bakersfield and the Central Valley as a whole. And we believe Kern Venture Group could help with initial sales as well as pilots on farm in Kern County. And lastly, like I said, we're waiting to hear from SVG Ventures. SVG Ventures will soon be announcing their new round, which we are aiming to come to an agreement to and close our seed round. SVG Ventures is the same investment group that we participated in the Thrive Global Accelerator program earlier this year. And we believe by working with them, our goal of improving animal health standards could be realized quicker on a global scale through their partnerships with, for instance, Land O'Lakes, which we're trying to get into action. And so now I'll hand it over to Connor for some upcoming trade show info.
Thanks, Alika. Regarding our upcoming trade shows, next month we will be attending the Milk Business Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this conference is catered to progressive dairymen that implement new technologies on their farms. They also have large herd sizes with at least 80% of the attendees being producers themselves. We also had a booth last year at this conference. And we will have a booth at the show where we will be able to receive feedback from various dairymen across the US and also push for pre-sale agreements for early 2023. The next show we'll be attending is in February at the World Ag Expo in Tulare, California. And at the show, we will have our gate system again, and we will also have a rotary demo with one robot traveling back and forth to showcase to farmers how our system will work on either type of operation. And now Alika will talk about our relationship with CSU Chico and product development.
Thank you, Connor. Yeah, so this year we started our third year collaborating with CSU Chico as a corporate sponsor for their mechatronics and mechanical engineering capstone design program for their senior engineering students. And so in the first year, they designed, developed, and tested our gate and restraint system. We thought this was a great program, so we decided to follow up and do a second year. And last year, they focused on the cooling unit and multi-functioning end-of-arm tooling. And so this year, they're now getting into the initial design process for the cooling lines that will connect the cooling unit to the end-of-arm tooling and keep the medication maintained through various climates throughout dairies in the US. And so the project will continue until May 2023, and the students have access to the executive team on a weekly basis, as well as components and designs from previous CSU Chico projects, as well as feedback from our contract manufacturers at Cimation. And so now we'll talk about some marketing metrics with Connor.
So for our social media efforts, LinkedIn continues to be our strongest platform with over 2,400 followers and the most engagement on our posts. We are also active on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can stay up to date more frequently on our company. So make sure you follow and engage with our posts so we can maximize results as well as reach, and you can get your information quicker.
Yeah, and so going more into operations for this quarter, in terms of metrics, our biggest metric for this quarter is really that phase 3 proof of concept testing. And so the scope of work is already outlined. They're going into, like I mentioned earlier in this webinar, going into line tracking as well as calibrating the 3D vision to prep it for the rotary. So we're still on time in terms of getting things done in an appropriate manner. We just really need to confirm that test site to start getting installation going here in the next few weeks. And so we shipped our robot to Hercules, California for that additional 3D vision testing, PLC integration, as well as programming the robot, like earlier mentioned, to keep up with the speed of the rotary. And so by the end of November, we plan to start moving forward and continue testing on that rotary platform application. And going into some more finance metrics for this quarter, really, when it comes to recent expenses, the only expenses we have incurred were some legal fees, some marketing expenses as well. So things have been pretty lean this quarter. But going into our system, as mentioned, we're still building it. And so I believe we can achieve our projected future reproduction cost of 180,000 to produce. But really, once we scale and have folks over at Fanuc supplying robots in bulk, we may be able to get that down to between 110 and 120,000 to produce a unit. So we should know this probably within the next 6 months once we start building our additional units. And we're hoping we can really hit that projection of getting costs down. And now I'll hand it over back to you, Connor.
Thanks. Regarding our current investment opportunities and funding goals, we are continuing to raise the remaining 800,000 for $1 million seed round. And without your help, we want to be at the point of proof of concept that we are now, and we thank you for this support. If you or someone you know in your network is interested in joining the remainder of our seed round with a minimum check size of $10,000, then please reach out to investor.relations@pharmrobotics.net to schedule a meeting with us to discuss further.
And again, we're open to hearing from you, and you can email us at info@pharmrobotics.net at any time. And thanks again for your support in Pharm Robotics as we continue to work towards improving farmers and animals' lives globally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.